Let's talk about this subject: be, do, have. 3 words: be, do, and then have. Now, that's not an original concept. I didn't think of this. In fact, if you do some searches, you'll find that a lot of people talk about this. But it comes up again and again in coaching that people want to have. They want to go straight to step number 3, which is having things. Want to have a good marriage, want to have a good job, want to have a nice car, want to have money in the bank. We all want to go to having. It's important, though, that we realize how the universe works. You see, if you want to have a certain kind of wife, you have to be a certain kind of husband. If you want to have a certain kind of husband, you need to be a certain kind of woman. It seems unfair. Seems like, well, maybe that's too harsh. But there's a principle that we reap what we sow, and we see it clearly with agriculture. If a farmer goes out and he plants corn, he has every right to expect that that's the crop he's going to harvest. In fact, it would make a mockery of the whole thing if he went out and found strawberries. So we have to sow the right seed in order to harvest the right crop. That's just kind of the cruel truth of the universe. And here's how it applies in our lives. If we want to have a certain level of prestige or respect or income, we have to become a certain kind of person. Now, all around us, we have the opposite idea presented to us. In fact, we're constantly inundated with the idea that we can go straight to having things. Don't have to even be able to afford them. Inexpensive credit allows us to go ahead and have it today and then pay for it over time. And in many ways, that's what we want to do with character. We want to go ahead and have the benefits of character without actually having to do the work to be a certain kind of person. But a modern day coach and philosopher, maybe you've seen Jim Rohn. Jim said it, maybe not the first one to say it, but he said, if somebody gives you $1 million, best you become a millionaire. Otherwise, you won't get to keep the money. Now just think about that for a moment. We might assume that having $1 million is what makes a person a millionaire. But he said, no. If you get $1 million, you got to become a certain type of person, or otherwise you will not keep the money. And is that borne out by actual case study or experience? You know, so many lottery winners go right back to where they were before. They win a bunch of money, and it doesn't do them a bit of good, or it does for a little while, but then quickly they seek their own level, they go back to where they were before, because they didn't do what it takes to become a certain type of person. And it works the other way too. In fact, occasionally somebody that's quite well-to-do financially will have an extreme setback. There's a fire, there's a disaster, something happens, and they're wiped out. But in a very short period of time, what usually happens? A person who has done it before does it again. Why? Well, the untrained and the outsiders look at it and say, oh, he's so lucky, as if it didn't have anything to do with who he is. But in reality, if a person builds that fortune and he wins the game and then he's wiped out, chances are he can do it again. So what's the lesson for us? You and I need to become a certain type of person, and then we need to do the things that that person does, that type of person does. And by being the authentic person and doing the work that that kind of person does, then we will have the things that that person has. And anybody who tells you different is trying to sell you something.